level only because of divine provision. God made enabled three important aspects that were needed for Moses to become this leader in the future that he was to become. The first, he needed the essential nutrients that a new baby born child would require from breastfeeding from the mother. Secondly, Moses needed proper exposure to the mother language that was necessary for the task that was before him. Thirdly, Moses needed identity formation that would make him remain conscious of who he was. How did God manage to accomplish this in the life of Moses, especially amidst threats by Pharaoh? In Exodus 1:22, we read, then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people. Every boy that is born, you must throw in the Nile, but let every girl live. Then Pharaoh's daughter became the victim in this way, that she took a time to go and take a bath in the same Nile where Moses was thrown. And right there, under God's providence, Pharaoh's daughter loved this boy Moses and moved in to adopt the boy as her son. I want you to mark as I close that there are three pathways that God made possible for the life of Moses to come to the stage of assisting others. First, it is the adoption part, where Pharaoh's daughter, the daughter of the killer king, becomes the adopting agent of Moses. Secondly, it is not only that, but also the fact that the king's daughter favored Moses and was able to see something deep in Moses. But thirdly, and for our purpose today, is the fact that Moses was also allowed to grow in his own mother's hands for purposes of language orientation. It is suspected that the formative stage of Moses that is spent in the hands of his own mother was the formative time when he learned his own mother language that would help in the task ahead of him. God facilitated all this because he knew Moses was going to rescue the Jews, and he needed to be in touch with the language that he was a Jew no matter where he was located. Exodus 2:10 says, when the child grew older, her mother took him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son, and she named him Moses, saying, I drew him out of water. See what happens with Moses when he now goes to the adopted mother, to the foster mother. One day when he had grown, aware of his language and culture, in chapter 2, verse 11, it says, one day after he had grown, he went out where his people were and watched them as their hard labor. He saw the Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people, glazing this way and that way. Seeing no one, he killed him and buried him in the sand. This Moses, who acted out of the cognizance of the fact that he was a Jew and understood the language and could hear the people speak in his language, this Moses ran away hiding, only to meet God again speaking in a bush. He meets a burning bush, where inside this bush is another voice speaking. I believe that must have been heard through the lenses and the ears of vernacular language. Moses heard clearly what God was saying, and in closing he says, in Hebrews is recorded that he took 5 strong actions in order to rescue the children of Israel. 1, he refused wrong identity. Secondly, he chose to be involved in what God was doing. Thirdly, he regarded having comfort as of no interest for him than to rescue the people. 4, he left Egypt, going to the fields in order to set himself for greater mission that was God was saying to him. And finally, Moses, being aware of his language and identity, then he kept the Sabbath. And it is through this that we see a young man, a stammerer, but with a strong language identity and a cultural identity, being able to climb above the waves of the day to rescue and save the millions of Jews who were caught up in Egypt. It is my prayer that even as we talk about development, we will become aware of the place and the place of language, especially our mother languages, and how they can be used by God to rescue and honor His rescues His people. Shall we pray? We thank you so much that even as we continue to celebrate our mother languages, we are not doing so from a vacuum. As Christians, as people created by God, serving God's mission in a world that has issues, we are aware that indeed you value language. Language is God ordained, and you made us in your image. And since you are the God who speaks, you hear and you understand all our languages. It is our prayer that we will treasure and appreciate the gift of language, and especially our mother languages, that even Moses was able to rescue a great team utilizing that avenue that he had been taught by his mother, even in the midst of hard times. We honor your name for the conversations that are going to be happening here and for the visitors that have come. We pray that our hearts will be moved to celebrate that it is indeed a gift to have these mother languages with us. We hand over this meeting to you as we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, the University Provost, for that wonderful word. I think we've been blessed. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, we want to move to the next presenter. Allow me to greet you in my mother tongue. Bushere. Bushere muno. You reply as Bushere muno. Bushere vosi? It's like Chamke Tugul. Bushere vosi. Thank you very much. Allow me to welcome the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Research, Professor John Ochola, to give his remarks. Welcome, Prof.
Professor Henry Kiplangat, the Vice Chancellor of Kabarak University, Your Excellency, Ambassador Gentiana Sebu, the Ambassador of Romania, serving us in the Republic of Kenya. Since we have so many guests in our midst today, I will not attempt to mention everybody here in the protocol, but let me safely say all protocols observed. Good morning. We are into the second day of our International Mother Language Day celebrations. We had the pre-conference yesterday with good speeches and good academic papers presented on the theme. Today, we continue our International Mother Day celebrations with a cultural festival and expo. And there will be good speeches again today. And then we are looking forward, ladies and gentlemen, it is also a day of pomp and color. As you can see, I have put on mine today, and I can spot a few people in the crowd also wearing the right colors for the day. Those of you who are wearing your suits and neckties, you also blend in so well. Today I will not go into a lot of details in my speech. It is just brief as that, because we want to have good music here. We wanted to have the dance. We want to have the songs. And then there will be a worship service coming on. So without wasting too much time, I humbly invite the Vice Chancellor of Kabarak University, Professor Henry Kiplangat, to come and make his remarks and officially open the cultural festival and expo for us. Welcome, sir. Let us put our hands together as we welcome the Vice Chancellor.
Your Excellency, Ambassador Gentiana Serbu, Madam Evelyn Awoko, Director Quality Assurance, Minister of Education, representing Dr. Elias Abdi, Director General, Minister of Education, Madam Nancy Mbugua, Director of Higher Education and TVET, Kenya National Commission for UNESCO, Mrs. Emily Njeru, Assistant Director of Culture, NATCOM, NATCOM, Madam Janet Langat, Executive Secretary, Kenya Music Festival, represented by Professor Iriba Mwangi, Dr. James Mutuku, Committee Member, Kenya Music Festival, Mrs. Jacqueline Kusunza, Committee Member, Kenya Music Festival, members of Kabarak University Management Board, deans and directors, members of staff, performing groups, our dear students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Chamge Tugul, good morning. You better greet your neighbor in your mother language, if you understand. All right, thank you very much. For you students, I can see you are very, very excited, and I'm happy that at least you have greeted yourself in your mother language. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to day 2 of the International Mother Language Day celebrations, having started yesterday. We had a very successful pre-celebration conference yesterday. Today we are into the celebrations proper with a focus on cultural festival. I warmly welcome you to give undivided attention to the messages we are about to receive from the speakers who will address us in the course of the day. I also welcome you to sit back and enjoy the cultural performances we have lined up. The icing on the cake for all of us will be the blessings we will receive during our midweek worship service we participate in at Kabarak University every Wednesday from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Today will be no exception. And since this is a cultural festival, we will also put into practice our biblical Christian culture during the worship service. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, yesterday I spoke at great length on the importance of mother language in imparting education and facilitating learning. Today, I do not want to belabor this point. Nevertheless, I would like to make the following points. 1, the Minister of Education should provide space for mother language in the education policy so that learners can take pride in mother tongue, that is, in our country. The benefits are enormous for us as a nation and for the global community. I know CBC is working towards realization of this proposal, but I know there are areas where implementation may be a challenge because of multi-ethnic composition of the people in that area. If you look at Kabarak University, for example, we are just a replica of this nation because we have almost everyone represented in this university. So it is not possible to teach one language unless you choose to teach all of them. But I do not know whether we have the resources and the time to teach all those languages. 2, competency-based education, which we have embraced, would be enhanced if education authorities could provide teaching and learning materials in various mother languages. During our time in primary schools, I can recall we had access to such materials, and it played a big role in providing a solid foundation for later learning. 3, it is possible for Kenyan universities and tertiary institutions to play a role in preserving the mother language by publishing books, dictionaries, and translations for Kenyan languages. We can borrow a leaf from the translation of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's seminal book, Facing Mount Kenya, into Gikuyu language, much to the pleasure of the Gikuyu language speakers. We can also borrow a leaf from Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o, who has taken on publishing his book solely in Gikuyu language. That resolution has not diminished his stature as an eminent professor at the University of California, Berkeley, in the US. Instead, it has earned him accolade as a true champion of African dignity. And to the members of the Kabarak University, if you are touched and you want to write a book in your mother language, we will work together with Kabarak University Press to ensure that your book is published. So we want to start so that we practice what we say. And finally, number 4, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the International Mother Language Day celebrations could not have come at a better time for us at Kabarak University. We have a fertile ground for promoting mother language and cultural activities. With our School of Music and Media, performing arts is a natural ingredient in our university curriculum. It blends in so well with the competency-based education and the values espoused by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with these few remarks, it is my great pleasure to declare the Cultural Festival of the International Mother Language Day celebrations at Kabarak University officially opened. With that declaration, I am pleased to welcome Madam Janet Langat, the Executive Secretary, Kenya Music Festival, represented by Professor Iribe Mwangi, to address this gathering. Professor Mwangi, I know you are not Mrs. Janet Langat, but you are representing Madam Langat. Please welcome. Can we give him a round of applause?
Thank you very much, Bwana Vice Chancellor. Assume this is not the face that you are seeing. It's not the ugly face. It's not the physique. It's a beautiful lady called Janet Langat with a beautiful smile who is speaking. Thank you. These are the remarks of Ms. Janet Chebet Langat, the Executive Secretary of Kenya Music Festival, during the UNESCO Mother Language Day celebrations held today at Kabarak University. Reading the remarks is Iribe Mwangi. I am a professor of Kiswahili and currently the chair of the Department of Kiswahili at the University of Nairobi, but here studying as an official of Kenya Music Festival. Our chief guest, Her Excellency the Ambassador, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Henry Kipragat, PhD, MBS, OGW, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Research, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administration and Finance, the Registrar, Academic and Research, the Registrar, Administration and HR, members of the University Management, all the invited guests, Dean of School of Education, Humanities and Social Sciences, and the Chairman of Kenya Music Festival, Deans and Directors of Schools, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The Kenya Music Festival is 96 years old. It was started by the white man, and later the leadership mantle was passed to Africans. As I have just mentioned, the current chair, leader of Kenya Music Festival is none other than Professor Fred Gara, a dean here and a professor in this university. When it was handled by the white man, it concentrated on Western music and Western instruments. After decolonization, African leaders began to Africanize the festival. Africanization led to creation of classes for African folk songs, and I'm here talking about music classes, African dances, and African instruments. Africanization also led to application of elements of African music to compose music. I wish to announce to you that several classes now exist in the festival that handle African music. We are assembled here today to celebrate the 2024 International Mother Language Day. I am happy to note that we shall listen to genres of music, dance, and elocution that are performed in mother language. Kenya Music Festival is a forum for propagating learning of the mother language. This happens because we require our children to sing folk songs, all of which exist in African languages. We also require them to dance to African music, some of which are recorded and sung in African languages. Further, we also have classes on chants that are rendered in mother languages. The Kenya Music Festival stands as a beacon of our cultural diversity, bringing together musicians and performers from across the country to showcase the depth and breadth of our music traditions. Through this festival, we celebrate not only talent and creativity of our artists, but also the resilience and vibrancy of our cultural heritage. But this rich tapestry of cultural expression is not static. It evolves and adapts to the ever-changing world around us. As custodians of music traditions, we must also embrace innovation and change. I imagine here, Janet would have added that while we speak of cultural and mother languages and folk songs, we do try to suit these to our modern times. So they keep on evolving and changing in terms of performances and in terms of the themes that are so handled. As a university, you have the opportunity to nurture and support the next generation of musicians, poets, and dancers, encouraging them to build upon the foundations already laid while forging new paths. And I'm sure if Janet were here, she would have commented on what she has just seen, because that is music performed by students from this university. By recognizing and honoring excellence in our musical heritage, you help to preserve our culture. But preservation is not simply looking to the past. It is also about fostering innovation and creativity in the present. Our musical traditions are not artifacts to be preserved in a museum. They are living, breathing expressions of our culture that continue to evolve with each passing generation. In doing so, you will not only preserve our cultural heritage for future generations, but also ensure that our music remains a vibrant and vital part of our national identity. Allow me to articulate the relationship between music, culture, and language. One, identity formation. Music plays a significant role in shaping individual and collective identities within cultural contexts, influencing how people perceive themselves and perceive others. All that is carried in music. 2, cultural expression. Music serves as a form of cultural expression, allowing individuals and the communities to convey their beliefs, their values, their traditions, their emotions through melodies, rhythms, and lyrics. Please note that the medium that is used by most of this is language. And allow Janet to comment that when you lose the language, you do not just lose the language, you lose the culture, you lose the philosophy, you lose the worldview, you lose the entire belief system of that community. Let me exemplify this. If you come from, say, the lakeside or the coastal area, and you are asked to name 10 different types of fish, I think that would be an easy task, isn't it? But ask a person from my community, Central Kenya, or from Northern Kenya, to identify, or even to just name 3 types of fish. It would be a Herculean task, because language carries the culture. So, for example, if you lost the Swahili language, you would lose all that goes with it. All that goes with fishing and fish and anything to do with the oceans. That's what you'd lose. You not just lose the language. And these are the beliefs and cultural practices that are said to be carried by music. And apart from carrying them, music preserves these traditions through heritage, and they are passed on from one generation to the next, ensuring the continuity not only of language but of the cultural practices and ratios. Social cohesion, music acts as a powerful tool for fostering social cohesion and solidarity. You imagine what a community does when they sing in one language. They dance, they are happy, they celebrate. So this forms social cohesion. Cultural exchanges, music acts as a powerful tool for fostering cultural exchange by providing a platform for interaction and collaboration between different cultures. You realize you will enjoy music, you'll enjoy a dance, even when you do not enjoy the language of that music because of these exchanges. The rituals and ceremonies, music facilitates music plays a central role in religious ceremonies, rites of passage, and other cultural rituals. We know that, for example, in African society, every activity had its own songs. There were work songs, there were the rites of passage songs, circumcision songs, etc., etc. So these songs were very important during rituals and ceremonies, and they are carried by music to this day, and that's how we get to know them. Cultural reflection, the themes, the motifs, the message conveyed in music often reflect the values, the beliefs, and social issues prevalent in a particular culture. There is also the issue of historical narratives, where music serves as a means of preserving historical narratives, collective memories, capturing significant events, struggles, triumphs, and consciousness of a people. The music also influences culture. It has the power to influence attitude, behavior, and trends shaping popular culture and societal norms through its widespread dissemination. And of course, there is globalization and hybridization, because in an increasingly interconnected world, music serves as a vehicle for globalization and cultural hybridity. As artists draw inspiration from diverse cultural sources and create new forms of music expressions that transcend traditional boundaries, and therefore through music we transcend the linguistic and cultural barriers, finding common ground, forging connections, and transcend differences. As we gather here today, let us reaffirm our commitment to the preservation and celebration of Kenya's music heritage and Kenya's languages. Let us recognize profound impact that music has on cultural identity and the importance of safeguarding this heritage and future generations. Let us use mother languages to preserve our cultures. And the Vice Chancellor has talked about languages, African languages being taught in schools, a very good thing that the ministry is trying to do. But Vice Chancellor, don't be worried. If Kabarak cannot use all the 100 or 40 or whatever language, there is Kiswahili. In Kiswahili we say, kila mwamba goma huvutia kwake. That's exactly what I'm doing. Lastly, let us use education to promote preservation of culture. Let us use music to educate people on how to preserve culture. Madam Janet Chebet, Executive Secretary, Kenya Music Festival. Thank you.
We can do better than that. Thank you, Prof. On behalf of Miss Janet Lagat. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Iribe Mwangi, for representing Madam Langat so well. At this point, distinguished ladies and gentlemen and participants, I would like to invite our keynote speaker, Her Excellency Gentiana Sarbu, the Ambassador of Romania to Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, I believe, Rwanda, and Burundi, and UN. So she has quite a bit of responsibility. So Your Excellency, please welcome so that you can address this gathering. Can we give a round of applause as she comes?
Thank you, Vice Chancellor Kiplangat, Your Excellencies, dear participants, professors, students, habari za asubuhi. Bună dimineața in my language. So thank you for inviting me to this conference in order to celebrate together the International Mother Language Day, which honors linguistic diversity and multilingualism, the priceless heritage of humanity. Multilingualism is a fundamental value in the international diplomacy. It strengthens dialogue between people with different backgrounds and promotes tolerance inside and among countries. In a world where diversity is a living reality, the ability to communicate across linguistic boundaries is paramount. Each language spoken is a vessel of culture, history, tradition, carrying the wisdom of the past generations and the aspirations of those yet to come. The theme of the day this year, multilingual education as a pillar of intergenerational learning, recognizes the value, the invaluable role that multilingual education plays in nurturing this rich tapestry of human experience. At its core, multilingual education embodies the spirit of inclusivity and empathy, welcoming individuals of diverse linguistic backgrounds into a shared space of learning and understanding. In this respect, Romania supported and actively participated in the revision process of a recommendation, I will not give the name, it's long, of UNESCO from 1974, and recently updated at UNESCO's 42nd session at the General Conference under the name of Recommendation on Education for Peace, Human Rights. We empower students to engage with the world in all its complexity, fostering a deep appreciation for the multitude of perspectives that enrich our global community. In Romania, Article 32 of the Constitution provides the legal basis for education at all levels for national minorities. It ensures the rights of the persons belonging to the national minorities to learn and to be educated in their mother tongue. Romania ensures education in the mother tongue at all levels, types and forms of general education for no less than 11 from the 18 national minorities as represented in the parliament. I have to specify that each minority recognized in the country, officially registered in Romania, has right to one seat in the chambers of deputies in the parliament. Speaking about constitution, I need also to stress that Article 128 of the Romanian Magna Carta provides a right to the national minorities to express themselves in their mother tongue in the justice. So in justice, they can go and express themselves in their national language. We actively promote minority languages as well as multilingualism through dedicated national contests, as are the Olympiads for the mother tongue of national minorities or My Intercultural Journey and Diversity, an extra change for the future. Also on the state TV channel, we have 1 hour per week for each minority. Of course, there are private channels that are active in Romania on Hungarian, on Serbian, on German, so it's no problem, it's a free country. A major point of interest for us is the preservation of the mother tongue among the Romanian communities abroad. I have to tell you that we have a large community abroad. It's in Europe about 4 million Romanians. Only in Italy there are more than 1 million. They ask now to be recognized as a minority. We recognize the Italian minority in our country. They have one place in the parliament, so we expect to be treated equally. So, like all languages, the Romanian language is not only a community language, but also the direct expression of the national identity. A heritage of culture and civilization which brings a specific added value to the European and the world heritage. Moreover, through the transmission of language from one generation to another, we preserve our cultural heritage and create conditions to ensure that future generations inherit a world where every voice is heard and every language valued. The diversity of languages reflects the incontestable wealth of our imagination and ways of life. The International Decade of Indigenous Languages, proclaimed by UNESCO in 2022, have given a momentum to the protection of these invaluable repositories and of knowledge and worldviews. We also believe that supporting intercultural events will build bridges between cultures and people. Actions and activities for promoting mother tongues serve both to encourage diversity and multilingual education and to develop an awareness of linguistic and cultural traditions around the world. Therefore, we break the walls, the stones of prejudice and extremism, and release the spring of solidarity based on understanding, tolerance, and dialogue. All of these springs can become rivers supplying the peace. So, just to give you an example of such an activity that I was talking about, we worked together, the embassy, with the Kenyan office of UNESCO, Professor Kibos, in organizing a project and developing a project which is called Masks of the World. Romania has a tradition with masks. We dance with masks between Christmas and the New Year. So our masks are in wool, your masks are in wood, in ceramic, it depends. So we are thinking to put together these treasures and invite other countries which have this tradition with masks. And we will have also in the project an exhibition with masks, an international exhibition, a dances festival where youth will dance or professionals will dance with traditional masks. We'll have from Romania, coming from a university, from a faculty of music, to dance and to show our tradition. And we have also conferences, workshops on these thematics. We'll start on 21st of May, which is the International Day of Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development. So I hope we'll see also your university represented there. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you good luck for the continuation of the activities.
Thank you, Ambassador, for that wonderful speech. I'll open room for questions and reactions from what the keynote speaker has given us. So who has a question from the... Any question or reaction? Ama kilikuwa Kiingereza? Dilikuwa shida. So I think I'll welcome Professor Ngala to take over.
Thank you very much. Can we please appreciate all the people who have been here, and that's beginning with our Vice Chancellor, going to the DVC, to the Ambassador, to the Madam Evelyn, and Professor and the people from Kenya Music Festival, our leaders in Kabarak University Management, colleagues, wonderful. This has been wonderful. At this point in time, we will go into a brief session of presentations, and we want to have a presentation by a team called Sampa Dancers, and they'll be dancing to some African music. So Ambrose Ike, we begin with the cultural, and then just one more. So prepare yourself to join us there. A man called, yes, you are there. Thank you very much. So, dancers, where are you? So there you are. Can you appreciate them? Sante. So, Bwana Caleb, can you give me good volume? And just ngoja kwanza mpaka wa settle. Bwana Caleb, you're ready? And Ambrose?
Away.
that is Sampa dancers. And in order for us to afford them an opportunity to at least breathe in for the second, we have our very own, the Ogoti, the boy child. Ogoti, the boy child, will tell you something in Ekegusi. Yes, Ogoti, the boy child, something in Ekegusi. Thank you.
If you appreciate UNESCO, say Mbuyamono. Say Mbuyamono. Her Excellency, say Mbuyamono. Thank you so much. Amazing. So we'll be doing a cocktail of Ekegusi together with the English, eh? All right, so I'll be accompanied by an amazing gentleman. He goes by the name Owen Orwa.
Appreciating where I came from, going back to my roots, reminiscing every moment, going back to my roots, loving each and every moment, looking back, appreciating those who came with.
Okay, I want you to listen. See, I am Ogoti the boy child, and that's the only gentleman with a boyish name. You see, I was wondering, Her Excellency, I heard that your name is Gentiana Sabu. From my language, when you come from the village, they say, Ayekwarureri Sabu. So, today is Mother Language Day. And I wonder, because with my tongue, I want to take my culture further. You see, it's funny, they say that it's mother language while the children adopt the language of the father. Ayatata, Tevi Tata, that I took after my mother's language, Nasina Matata. So I am Ogoti, in Chenomogusi. You see, I want you all to appreciate UNESCO because UNESCO starts with you. So I am the only Kisi with the bass. Lakini mogontebin kwane na inde, na bongo kwana tena. You see, Omogusi, speaking is our talent. And as you can see, I am speaking. So if indeed, even if we are out of parliament, Nabotoko bachi speaker, even if you take the sound system into Nechi speaker. So Abagusi, we are Bantu speakers. Yes, we are lit. Hatuwezi Bantu. If you're getting me, give me a snap. Even if you don't understand, give me a snap. Okay, listen to this. In Chenomogusi, you see, mbwate forehead. Kwa hivyo nche mbwate kepaji. The way Kisi is wrapped with success, nabon oko nyeroke page. A Kisi is a Kisi. You don't have to identify them with a page. They say that education is the keys, but Abagusi, we are brilliant because we are the Kisi. And if indeed wanasema kwamba busu inafungua roho, kwa hivyo mimi ndo hiyo Kisi. Na sijai kisia. Uliza rafiki yangu Kisia, atakwambia Abagusi ntunaba ngaini. Yes, we are very brilliant and we are represented as a cabinet. Honorable Machogu, oh you know your minto erene minister inche tindie cabinet lakini mwane mbwate cabinet pia minister. In Chenomogusi, I am a very proud Kisi. I know sometimes you tell us that sometimes we do run during odd hours. Let me tell you the truth. The fact is this, that as Kisis, we are just proud of the human race. That's even. I know you guys tell us that Kisii, ati sisi tuko na hasira. That's not true. It's because sometimes we have amazing appetites and we can't stomach some behaviors. Usicheze Mkisii. Ukicheze Mkisii, sometimes unaweza shangaa form ni which. Sema form ni which. Inchenomo Gusii. And I'm very proud to be Kisii because I welcome you to the motherland, Gusii land. And you realize that you don't have to go abroad to get greener pastures. Our land is green. And the fact is simple, that I am just proud to be Kisii because inche no Gusii. Say Mbuyamono. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. For those who do not know, this man is studying pharmacy. An artist par excellence. Sampa dancers once more. Sampa dancers, please welcome them. Sante. They're dancing to a tune that is very well associated with Kabarak University. That is the tune is Samaha Wadhambi. They're dancing to that tune. And the last item for this session will be presented by our very own, the altar dancers of Kabarak University. Short one, altar dancers, and I'm told they are doing something Congolese, something Nigerian, mixed with some Kenyan ideas. Fusion. Welcome. Bwana Caleb.
Sonye mama Yahweh mama Yahweh kisi ya sonye mama Mon janvier bosi encore yo asi bombiunda mon janvier mon janvier
Coco Espebas, Nyata Gaëla Tikaya la patrona Gilda Sambendengeso Mon ami Gaël Miloïjo Ya le meilleur et donc il faut une joie à toi et à la bouni.
Gaza, we go Gaza, oh. Me I no send nobody, I go Gaza, oh. Come see wahala, oh. Them say we the Gaza, oh. Around con Gaza, no go they send me answer. Me o shame Mr. Money, and me come Zanza. Oga embargo, mo kona bi El Chapo. Tiba no mi o collabo, boya color ya o labo. On close. And I got too many models, cause I got too many foes. Allah, I can take away their sorrows, bless their souls, may Allah rest their souls. Y'all know these niggas hoes. I know original bone killer, so we pro. If you mess with my back, then you mess with the bros. When my fuck, but buy up.
Our dear Vice Chancellor, sir, I wish to make the following announcements. One, that these kind of presentations will go on in the afternoon, beginning 2 p.m. That is after the chapel. So we invite all of you to come back here, be seated, and enjoy a wonderful afternoon of celebrations, mother language. All of you, please keep time. Number 2, we're going to have a break, a short break, and the Vice Chancellor's guests will go to the administration block, and the rest of us, we will partake of tea just outside here. And then after that, we will rush quickly, and that tea break will be more or less like 10 minutes or so, and then we will all head to the chapel. This is very important. We all go to the chapel. Students in the School of Education, we all go to the chapel after this. The university choir, we will request that you take tea first because you are going for a concert there. Now in that place, we'll have good music, and the lecturers in the School of Education, please rise up again, please rise up again. Please let us appreciate the academic staff of the School of Education. Yes, thank you so much. Some are out on teaching practice, and we thank you very much for coming. We still rely on you in the afternoon to give us good audience. Thank you so very much. And so, at this point in time, let me just say, God bless you, and thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, our Vice Chancellor and our visitors. Let me now invite Reverend Justus Mutuku Musila, the acting provost. Thank you very much.
By the nature of our numbers in the university, we struggle with the time in the chapel, and I'm not sure what to say. I've been asked to pray for tea, but if I was asked, I would ask that you skip that tea, but I will ask you to take the tea because the worship team has already started, and we will be running. We are just about 15 minutes to time, so we allow the visitors of the Vice Chancellor to grab something. They did not do so this morning. But the students, I will request you, especially the choir,